Now, the following might sound like a vent, but I just want to say that I'm going to be passionate about this subject. So just please give me a little bit of latitude here, because, and this is specifically talking to women, because sadly I see a pattern happening with so many women to think that the men that they're communicating with are really attached to them. So I think it's important that I help you understand men need this special thing before they fall in love. So let me kind of lay a scenario out for you. You've been communicating with a man via text message, via email, via telephone. In fact, most of your communication is through one of these three mediums. In other words, and I know a lot of you are frustrated because these days it seems like there's a lot more communication happening via text messaging or maybe instant messaging or even emails, and you would like more telephone calls. So I get it. I totally understand that. And for those of you that have been having a lot of deep, intimate conversations with men over the phone, some of them lasting for hours, going through long periods of time, and you might have this feeling that he's really, really falling for you through these methods of communications. And I want to tell you, you are the furthest thing from the truth. Now, let me lay this scenario a little bit deeper. So some of you are communicating with men who don't live around the corner. In other words, you're not getting together for ice cream. You're not going to see a movie. You're not doing things together. Partly because in these days, we're connecting with total strangers through the internet or various other mediums. So, and in many cases, there's a lot of distance involved, okay? Sometimes it's 15, 20 miles, which could be an hour of driving. Sometimes it's 70 miles. Sometimes it's another state, and sometimes it's across the country. So is it any wonder that, and so let me lay out this scenario more. You've had lots and lots and lots of communication that was non-face-to-face, okay? It would be face-to-face, face-to-face, yeah. Whatever, you get the gist of it. Lots of communication, not face-to-face. And then you're surprised when a person ghosts you or cancels or does something that affects this, very precious relationship. I'm going to be dramatic. It's a precious relationship. That's kind of being a little mean, so let me take that back. But what I'm trying to suggest to you that I think to understand the way human beings operate, it's really important to understand this one particular thing. And it's in particular that men need before they fall in love. And men need experiences. Let me repeat that. Experiences. Most men fall in love through the following: social activities, hobbies, mutual interest, and physical contact, which includes sex. Okay, sorry to be so graphic. Yes, sex is part of the experiences, but it's not just sex, because you only spend so, on any given week or day or whatever, that much time in sex. But it's through experiences. It's going and shooting pool together. Maybe it's going to a movie. Maybe it's going hiking. Maybe for some of you who are athletic, who like to snow ski or stand-up paddleboard. Doing things with family and friends. These are the experiences that allow men and women to truly bond and fall in love with each other. So not only do you need experiences, you're going to need time for this to happen. So for many of you that are in relationship with someone who lives 70 miles away that you've seen once or twice in a 4-month period of time, but you're having lots of telephone calls, lots of text message, and then you start noticing it drifting off. Because men need physical contact to actually feel like they're in love with someone. It's that physical activities, it's being your hero, it's doing things. And the telephone is the weakest form of connection. Telephone, text, and emails. It's the weakest form of connection. And yet with women, the minute they've bonded, they feel like this man is so into them, and then they're wondering why that guy disappears, wondering why that guy pulls away, wondering why he might ghost, is because he hasn't really bonded with her, because bonding happens through experiences, and it takes time to create those experiences. That's where deep, nurturing friendship begins. And friendship is the foundational piece for falling in love. So let me say that again. Social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends. That's how a man falls in love, and that doesn't happen in a short period of time. So for any of you that gone out with a guy and he says, oh my God, after a first date, you're so amazing, you're so wonderful, we should get married, blah, blah, blah. That's just his hormones saying, I want to fuck your brains out, and I'm excited about it. And I'm guilty of this. So I've jumped off the cliff with someone I barely know, only to find out later I wasn't really that into them. It takes time and experiences before someone can fall deeply, deeply in love with someone. So I guess what I'm getting at here is, oops, my elbow fell. What I'm getting at here is when you're attached to someone that you've been communicating with through telephone, through email, and they're just, and it's not progressing any further, it's starting to pull back, that sort of thing, it's because it's the weakest form, okay? And then you might be wondering, well, why does a guy spend so much time on the telephone? Why does a guy spend so much time in texting and email? Because the reality is we are seeking feminine connection. We're seeking connection from the opposite sex, and it just feels good to feel a connection with another human being. But that doesn't mean that we're bonding with you. Communication for men is not how we bond. I mean, it's how we kind of maybe express, maybe are getting our feelings out, and we're able to release a lot of angst and frustration and stuff going on in our lives, especially if we're with a good listener. But that doesn't mean that we're bonding with you. Now, let me reframe that. Okay, let me pull that back a little bit. Maybe we're bonding 10%, but we're not deeply bonding through that experience. Yes, and for some and for lonely, desperate men, that might be the only way they bond. Okay, but I suspect you're not seeking the lonely, desperate guy. You're seeking the guy that's got his shit together, that has a fair amount of self-esteem, self-confidence. So yes, I shouldn't say all men. I'm saying most men. The lonely, desperate guy totally bonds through this methodology. So if that's what you're looking for, more power to you. But I don't think that's the case. But be very careful and cautious to believe that you're in a significant relationship when it's mostly telephone, text, and emails. And I'm talking about the early stages where there isn't any agreements, any real commitments with one another. Okay, you get the gist of where I'm going. What do men need? They need experiences, and they need time to truly fall in love with you. And my hope is that if you look back to some of your past relationships that didn't have this, you can now understand why you weren't able to go the distance. Okay, you might have something to say. You might totally disagree with me. Post a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you find value in what I share, I please encourage you to go to my website, jonathanaslay.com. Check out my group coaching program called Midlife Love Mastery. It's a great place to connect with me on a daily basis. You get access to a gazillion videos, a monthly call that I do, and if you're on Facebook, you get access to me through a private Facebook page where I answer questions daily through videos. And if you'd like to talk to me privately about coaching, please click the button to shortcut to Mr. Right. You can schedule a call with me. We can see if private coaching is right for you. And I want to leave you off with something, as I always do, a big Jonathan Bear hug, if I have your consent. Wishing you a super duper wonderful day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.